In this video, I'm going to show how you can get better coverage and save money by comparing travel insurance plans for yourself. Now, I'm going to show you on this screen here in real time live so that you can see exactly how it works. It doesn't take long. We're going to get started right now. So I got an email from Vivian and Neil who are taking a cruise out of Miami. It's in December. They're going to the Bahamas. It's a 1-week cruise, but they are doing the smart thing and coming in one day early and staying a day after just so they're not worried about missing a flight, missing the boat, anything like that. Now they're looking at the Carnival protection plan is $378 on their particular cruise. They saw one of my videos where I say that you should really never buy that plan. There's always better options for you. So they wanted to reach out about that. So that's what we're trying to beat is $378 and get better coverage and get some better options. And keep in mind here, so that is just for the cruise cost. The cruise plan won't cover things like airfare and hotels, other things like that. So they do want all of that covered as well. They are 68 Colorado. So here's the cost of the trip that they are covering. That is with everything. So that is both the cruise and then the flights and the hotels and all of that too. Now, I always ask, the biggest thing here is really the biggest concerns that they have about their trip. Obviously, there's the money, but other things. So that's what they're mentioning is losing the trip costs if they were to get sick. At 68, they know that health issues do come up. So they want to make sure that those are covered. If they had to cancel right before, they don't want to lose all that money. Of course, medical emergencies while they are out of the home country. I think they saw another one of my videos about how Medicare does not cover you when you leave your home country. There are some plans that can have some coverage, but they're never all of the coverage, and they really want to make sure that they have the proper coverage. And then easy to file a claim, they mentioned as well. So we're going to take a look at the Carnival plan, and I have the trip info down here. And let's just see where we're comparing to. So this is the plan that Carnival offers you at checkout. It's very easy to check the box. There's a couple things that jump out right away that I always start with really with these plans is the fact that the medical coverage is $10,000 if you get sick or injured on your vacation, and then the evacuation is $30,000, and those numbers are very low. Experts recommend much higher limits than that. But just to know what we're comparing with, this is $378, and those are the limits on that plan. So we're going to come over to my website, CoverTrip, and start a quote. And we'll put in their information and we'll look at the different plans. So they are going to the Bahamas. And I believe their trip dates are December 5 to 14. So we can just move ahead on the calendar to, that's of this year. So the 5th to the 14th. Again, that's with those, the early day in and out. There are 2 travelers, both age 68. And let's see, they're from Colorado. And moving along. By the way, on any of these pages, if you're not sure what the question is asking, if you have questions, you can hover over the question marks here and it will explain what should be going in that field. Yes, they do want trip cancellation coverage, and I believe that amount was $7,350. That's everything, cruise and then the flight and hotels. And the first deposit date, I don't remember, April 30th. Now that's important for some coverages like cancel for any reason. They're doing the smart thing and looking at insurance right after making that first trip payment. That starts a clock, and there's certain coverages like cancel for any reason that are only available if you buy within a couple weeks of that first payment. So they're doing the smart thing. At least they have that option. And then is the trip paid for? No, I still owe. So they just made a deposit. They haven't paid for the full trip. So the search engine went out and it fetched quotes from all plans, all companies, and they're all right here on the same page. You can see, let me move myself, your search has 51 policies to choose from. Just a quick tour of this page. At the top, you can see the search details, the traveler, the ages and the dates and the cost, so you can make edits here with the edit button. There is a unique search number here, so that's for your search. You can see the URL at the top here. That's unique to your trip, so you can save that and come back to this at any time. Disclaimer here about applying a filter for coronavirus pandemic. It just looks for plans that cover that. Everything covers that now, so I'm actually just going to turn that off here. And you can see on the left, continuing the tour, you can sort the results, you can filter the results, and then everything is on the right. Each one of these cards has a different company and a different plan name. Some of the basic coverages, the premium, you can click in here to get more policy details. Everything's clickable, so all the definitions come up, all the specifics come up, and then of course the purchase buttons. So let's get back to their specific trip. Now, since they are taking a cruise and they have the common concerns of trip cost and medical issues, and that's both medical treatment costs and then evacuation. There are individual filters for those, but if you apply the cruise filter, you can see if you hover over this, it applies minimum recommended amounts, which is $100,000 and $250,000. So when you apply that filter, it automatically sorts for plans just with that coverage. So now we're down to 33 policies to choose from, which is still quite a few. We want to narrow that down more. Once you have that minimum coverage in here, I always recommend start with your basic filtering, so get minimums that you want in certain areas. And that might be plans that have primary medical or plans that offer cancel for any reason. In this case, we've applied what we need to. And then there's no reason to not sort by price from low to high. You have the bare minimums you want, sort them low to high, and then start comparing and see how they stack up next to each other. So right off the bat, here we have a plan that's $341. So back to the Carnival plan, which was $378. So we are already saving money, but keep in mind we're getting about 10 times as much medical coverage, which is the main concern that these travelers have. And then also it's covering the hotel and the flights too. So it's more cancellation coverage. It's the whole trip, not just the cruise. It's 10 times as much medical coverage, and they're still saving money. Already we're doing well here. But I think it's always good to compare some plans. And I always just start by looking at the top three after sorting by price. So I would look at this plan from IMG. This one's been coming back really good recently in quotes. And the John Hancock plan. So you can see that's a good amount more. Let's try to figure out why that is. That's $140 more. And we have another plan from Seven Corners, which is a basic plan. We'll probably find out how that's a basic plan. And we'll compare that as well. So we've selected a few plans. You can compare up to 3. And we'll look at these side by side. Click the compare button. So here are the 3 plans. We can see the policy amount. And by the way, that cost is for both travelers. And then we'll take a look and see how they compare and make sure that this lowest cost plan is truly the best one, and make sure there's not a reason that it's not as good as the others. So you can see the cancellation coverage is 100% of the trip cost. On these 2 plans, the 2 left plans, the trip interruption is 150% of the trip cost, whereas Seven Corners is just 100%. That's the coverage that covers you if you are in your trip and there's a medical emergency and you lose the rest of your trip. You can get reimbursed for those trip costs. In the first 2 plans there, you'll get 150% back, which is great. It can make up for some of those return costs. This is a big one for cruises as well as are the hurricane and weather coverage. And I see some differences here. So this is called the delay trigger. So this is the amount of time after some sort of weather delay when the coverage will kick in. So the common carrier delay, that's your airline, a delay of 6 hours, and this coverage will kick in for cancellation. Whereas these 2 plans both require a 2-day common carrier delay. So that's a good amount of time. So right away, I'm seeing that as a reason why this plan does stand out, and it's still the lowest cost. And then 2 of them I see have the hurricane warning coverage, which again extends your coverage. Instead of a hurricane needing to actually strike your location, you would have coverage if there's a warning issued for your location. But let's keep going down the list here. So I see similar coverages here. Financial default is covered. Let's see, cancel for any reason is available on all 3 plans. Now here's a big difference as well. The medical, they all have that $100,000 of medical coverage, but the Seven Corners plan here is secondary. Let me explain that very quickly. One of their criteria here was that they wanted easy claims, and that's where this comes in. With primary coverage, that means that with the medical emergency, that the insurance company will pay first, no matter what, no questions asked. With secondary coverage, you would need to exhaust any other coverage you might have from another insurer. That might be your insurance from home, whatever Medicare might pay. So you need to go through all of those, jump through those hoops before the insurance company will pay for you. And that does affect cost. Typically, in this case, on a basic plan, oftentimes it will have secondary coverages that keep the cost down. In this case, this plan is lower cost and it has better coverage. So honestly, with that difference here, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. If you go down to the bottom, there's a remove button. That's enough for me to knock that plan out of contention. Here's another big difference. So we're into evacuation coverage now. Back up here, there is coverage for pre-existing conditions, which is great, certainly with older travelers. They both have the $500,000 of evacuation, but then this plan does have non-medical evacuation coverage included as well, which really makes it stand out. This one, no coverage. That's for things like political unrest, something like that. At the bottom are things that they wouldn't necessarily make you buy the plan alone, but if you're unsure between two plans, they can tip it one way or the other. This is things like travel delay coverage, baggage, lost baggage. So small differences here, 1,000 versus 750. But again, none of these stand out to the point where this plan for more money and those couple of deficiencies up here, like with non-medical evacuation, I would just say that this plan, the IMG plan, really does seem to be the best plan. I think it has better coverage. It's lower cost. That's better than the competitors that we've looked at here. And it's certainly far better than the cruise line plan, as we've already talked about. So we can either click the buy button here. I'll show you this next screen as well. Or go back to the search results. If you did want to go back and look at any other plans, you certainly could. But at this point, I would choose this plan, so I want to show you that process. You'll click through the purchase button. Here you put in the traveler information, dates of birth. Down below you can see where you can add, if you're eligible for it, if you've bought in time, you do have the option for cancel for any reason. You can check this. You can see it adds premium to your plan. They do have upgrades for increasing the medical coverage if that's something that you want. You can see that you can really significantly over double the coverage for just a few dollars, so a lot of people do opt to do that. And then down below is the payment information, and you would complete it right online. It would send you an email with instant confirmation, and you're done. So you can see how fast this process really is to look at your own plans, save money, get better coverage. It's always a better option for you. Now, if you are planning a trip right now, I put 2 links down below to help you. One is for my free travel insurance roadmap that will help you understand all of these different coverages and everything that you need to know about insurance. And the other link is to my comparison engine where you can put in your trip details and get your own travel insurance quotes. And if you want to see that video about how the cruise line plan is never the one to choose, you can click on this video right here and watch that.